Samsung's Galaxy Note line is arguably one of the most popular out there. With this year's iteration, however, it appears as though Samsung once again opts to take the predictive approach with the Note 9. Considering how the Note 8 had to overcome the sourness left over by its predecessor, some were probably expecting the Note 9 to be an even more revolutionary offering. Looking at two phones, it's really tough to distinguish what's new and what's old. That's because it's the same design language as before. You have the glass meets metal construction, the dual curved edges, and the infinity display. However, we will note that we appreciate Samsung finally repositioning the fingerprint sensor to below the camera with the Note 9. On top of that, they both feature IP68 water-resistant constructions, they have heart rate sensors, and yes, even a headphone jack. With the S Pen, the two appear very similar, but Samsung clearly focused a lot on this aspect with the Note 9 because now it features Bluetooth LE, adding more arsenal to its package, like being used as a remote shutter for the camera and media playback controls. Yet again, it's nearly impossible to tell the difference with their displays. Last year's Note 8 packed a sizable 6.3-inch 1440 by 2960 Super AMOLED panel, while the Note 9 gets a marginal increase with its size to 6.4 inches. It's still the same Quad HD resolution as its predecessor, and it's still Super AMOLED technology, so the difference is essentially almost nothing. They still both look pretty exquisite with their sharp details, punchy colors, and exceptional viewing angles. Those qualities are more than enough to make the Note 9's display still lovable, but in an era where we have HDR displays and 4K resolution, Samsung's decision is indicative of that old adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The Note line has always been one that focused a lot of its efforts on productivity, and that continues here with the Note 9. On the surface, the look and feel of the interface is unchanged, although it is running Android 8.1 Oreo. However, there are new features added to the Note 9 that makes it more beastly when it comes to productivity. For starters, you no longer need a DeX pad to get that desktop-like experience. Secondly, they have enhanced the AR emojis. And finally, there's this new photo drawing mode that allows you to take a picture using the S Pen, and then you could draw over that. It's no surprise that the Note 9 has the better performance hardware. That's because it's the newer device, obviously. So in this case, it's the Qualcomm Snapdragon 845 for US-bound devices, or the Exynos 9810 for other markets. This is naturally an upgrade over the Note 8's hardware, which is running last year's Snapdragon 835. What's interesting though is that the Note 9 implements a brand new water carbon cooling technology, so it better dissipates heat and improves gaming performance. But we're really stoked about how Samsung has increased the storage capacity with the Note 9. It's now double that. You now have 128GB of internal storage with the base model, which has 6GB of RAM, and there's also another model with 8GB of RAM and 512GB of storage. There wasn't a whole lot of talk about the Note 9's camera. It still adopts the same dual camera implementation as the Note 8 last year, but it also leverages some of the new stuff we saw with the S9 and the S9 Plus, and that's the variable aperture. So the new camera here with the Note 9 breaks down to a wide-angle 12-megapixel sensor with that variable aperture of f1.5 and f2.4. And then there's a secondary telephoto 12-megapixel camera with an f2.4 aperture. Now the main difference here, of course, is that variable aperture, which should deliver better results under low light, but we'll see about that. Now if you take a really close look at the Note 9 and Note 8, you'll notice that the Note 9 is just a smidgen thicker with its chassis. That's because they managed to put in a larger 4000 mAh battery in there, which is a sweet upgrade over the 3300 mAh battery of the Note 8. Obviously a bigger battery, gonna get longer battery life we hope, but besides that, it still has the same wireless charging as before. When it comes to price, we know that the Note 8 launched at around $930 to $960 with most carriers, but with the Note 9, we don't know what the pricing is yet. From what we can gather so far, the most notable additions center around the Note 9's new S Pen features, that higher capacity battery, doubling the base internal storage, and its ability to offer that desktop-like experience using only a standard USB Type-C to HDMI adapter. Beyond that, the Note 8 can still put up a good fight, seeing that it's quite formidable in all areas. While it may be rocking last year's hardware, you can bet the Note 8 still has enough gas in the tank to compete against the Note 9. And that is it for a quick first look comparison here between these two phones. If you guys want to learn more about them, you can check out our website, phonearena.com. This is John B, signing off.